Hey Canelo, if the WBC asks you to either fight Golovkin next or give up the belt, what do you do?
I'm ready.
You ready? So we're gonna see Golovkin in May or what?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
There it is. Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, how are you, Dante?
All right, man. Hey, you know I had to get your thoughts on Canelo's performance. What'd you think?
You know, I thought he did well. I thought the young man that fought him was not quite on his level, but he got hit some shots, but I don't think the other guy had that much on him. But he fought a good fight, man. He did what he did what he was supposed to do. Stop the kid.
Yeah, and Abe, that's exactly what I said. I said, you know, considering who he was in there with, he was in there with a guy that wasn't on his level, and that's what you're supposed to do to a guy that's not on your level. But the question is, you know, will he face one of the other guys at 154 if he's going to stay at 154, which is some of the best fighters at 154, like you told me before, Julian Williams, Demetrius Andrade, the Charlo brothers. What do you think?
No. There's no way he's going to face those guys. Those guys are a threat. He faced a guy that he knew was going to go later on in the fight. He's going to be able to put him out. But you're talking about some very talented fighters in that group that you just mentioned. Some very talented fighters with a different kind of style that would be very troublesome for Canelo. He has a problem with the Trouts and the Lauras and those guys that move on him like that. He wants to stand still and punch, and those guys at 54 are probably the cream of the 54-pounders.
Well, Abe, I'm telling you, that's going to be crazy because he already gave up the belt rather than face Gennady Golovkin. Now I think he may be in a similar situation with Demetrius Andrade, because Demetrius Andrade, he was holding that WBO belt, and now he has that WBO belt. So, you know, Demetrius Andrade is going to pursue that. So that'll be a bad look if he ends up giving up his WBO belt rather than facing Demetrius Andrade. But
you know, I read somewhere just this morning something about, he said this is his last fight at 154. So maybe his intention is to move directly up to 160. I don't know, but I did read that this morning.
Yeah, that would be the exception. I said that in my video as well. I mean, I said if he moves up and he fights somebody like Willie Monroe, I mean, that won't be that bad of a fight, you know, for his first fight at middleweight. At least we can gauge how he does against Monroe compared to how Golovkin did against Monroe, you know. So we'll get a little bit of a gauge right there, you know.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that they're trying to do all pay-per-views. There's no way that you can sell to the public a pay-per-view with Willie Monroe.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I totally. Hey, Abel, did you hear what Canelo Alvarez said after the fight? He said that they offered Golovkin a fight on a couple different occasions, and you guys turned it down. He said something like they were waiting for your guys' response and didn't get anything back. Well, what's your reaction to that?
Do you remember after the Cotto fight what he said?
Yeah, he said he was ready.
Okay, do you remember after the Khan fight what he said?
Oh yeah, I remember it.
So you can believe anything you want to believe, but there's all kinds of ways to not make a fight. The Eubank Senior proved that. There's all kinds of ways to offer what you know is going to be turned down, or what you know is not going to be even considered. There's all kinds of ways not to have a fight, or not to take a fight, or not to make sure the fight happens. So they are still in negotiations, but like I said, there's all kinds of ways to not have the fight.
I mean, but does that shock you? I mean, where did that come from? For Canelo to just come out of nowhere and just say, we offered them a fight. It's like out of nowhere. He had never said this to any previous reporters. I mean, why do you think he would even say something like that?
Dante, he calls us into the ring after the Khan fight, does this big old speech about Mexicans and about what we do, goes to the press conference after screaming at the top of his lungs making sure that Abel Sanchez and Tom Lawson answer their phones tomorrow because I want to be calling them, and then 10 days later they give up the belt. I mean, you know, they're people that are saying things to rile you up and to make you think, but they're not really coming through with what they're saying.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing